This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for Avoid the Maze. The music you're listening to is from one of my very dear friends, Jeff Brisbane. I wish you enough. And I have to say that is how I feel about my special guest today. Alyssa Jacey is with us today, and I met Alyssa about 2, 3 years ago, right, Alyssa?
Yeah, I would say if it's been 2 years, it's been pandemic. Yeah, coming up on three, probably. Mm-hmm.
And, when we met, you were just bringing something out that was brand new, and we talked about it. And you also had mentioned at the time that you were going through some fairly big life changes. And there was just something about you that afterwards I said, I have to keep in touch with this woman. Not only do I love her music, not only do I love her enthusiasm, but there's something about her journey that is so real. And I'm sure you didn't see it back then. And you may not even see it now, but we all go through life changes. So let's think about when you were maybe 5, 6 years old. You know, you didn't see yourself as, I know you didn't see yourself as a performer because that came much later in life. But I know for me, when I was 5 or 6 years old, uh, I was going to get married. I was going to have this house and there was going to be a picket fence because that's what everybody has. Um, and I was going to visit my mother regularly with my children, and everything was going to be wonderful. And then I got to about age 15 and I saw things a little differently. And then it's constantly changing. And so when I met you, I thought to myself, here's a young woman who, in just a short period of time, has gone through so many changes. So, what was that really like? Because for me, listening to you and following you, sometimes it's so heartbreaking. And other times, all I want to do is sit and laugh and go, yeah, me too.
I don't even know where to start with that question. Well, first, thank you for that introduction. And I really, my life's purpose. My life's purpose is to inspire people. It's to move people and connect with people. And artists can say that all day long, but that is genuinely, truly what I need to survive and be happy. And to hear that you felt that way just from a short amount of an introduction with me, a short conversation, and then following what you see on social media, that's really important to me. And to hear that for everyone else who's an artist, if you feel that way about them, it's important for us to be reminded of that because we're also still human.
Yep.
So thank you, because that helps my heart as a person, and it helps my, music performer ego that needs to be rubbed from time to time. But when I was young, I mean, at 5 years old, I thought I would be a performer, but a dancer performer. So the whole music side, right, was a never for me, because I never was singing, I never was songwriting, I never was playing an instrument, I just was dancing. So you asked what was it like when we met for me? Is that what your question is?
Yeah.
Confusing, probably. I didn't have necessarily a life plan when I was born. I didn't know that, you're for sure going to get married, you're for sure going to have children, you're for sure going to live in this kind of house. I have so many motherly instincts, but being a mother with certainty when I was a child wasn't something that I had been thinking about. What I did think was, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. And when it's meant to happen, it'll happen. But I kind of saw it happening, getting married later on in life, kids if I have them later on in life. And that did happen. I got married at almost 37 years old. And had we still, if we made it and been together, probably would be pregnant by now, because we both had that same dream once we got together. But it's confusing because it was separation time, I think, when you and I met.
Right.
Just right around there.
Yep.
So that would have been June of 2020. And just before that was just a really hard time with us. And then with the pandemic and with my family being all the way in California and here in Tennessee and us having a strong bond, it's tough having that distance. And everyone, I'm really close with people here, but they all had their own things that they needed to focus on and their families to grow and their financials to get in order and COVID to protect themselves from getting. And so we met at a really interesting time.
Right.
Major life changes.
Well, and you know what? Like I said, so many of us have gone through these life changes. And when we're going through them, we think it's only us, nobody else, nobody could even understand. Um, and I'm sorry that when I went through it, that social media was not as prevalent as it is today, because I think I would have gotten a little taste of saying, hey, I'm really not alone.
Right.
But what I've seen since we first talked and first started following you is that um, with all the hurt that you were going through, you still started barreling forward. You knew that you had to heal. And I believe you found healing in your music.
Absolutely 100% yes. 100% yes. I wrote a lot of songs that are coming on the album, sitting right at this chair in this desk, right in this space.
So interestingly enough, and I haven't heard this new album yet. And I know it's coming out soon. And I know we still have to raise about how much more money?
3,800.
Okay. So
in 30 days for
you've got some great fans out there that have been supporting this. I think it's wonderful.
Blue Crew.
Yeah. And you probably can't see it, but I changed my shirt. I put on a blue shirt for you.
Oh, you're so cute. Thank you. That's awesome.
So let's talk about that. Blue Crew, for those who don't know, how did that all come about?
I was 16 and my car was, I guess you can't see my desk, but it's brown. I had a brown car and I had paint chipping off of it. And I just knew I was not gonna need, I can't drive around a paint chipped off car. I've got to paint it something. So I went to whatever you call the car paint store. I still don't know the name after I've said this story 100 billion times, like the place where you go get your car painted. And there's a book of 5,000 different color swatches. And I went through all of them and then okay, red, orange, yellow, green, whatever. I get to the blue section and there's this gorgeous, like almost like this. It's a royal blue with opal coating over it.
Yeah.
It's just so stunning. It just like was glowing off the page, calling for me to paint my car that color. And I did. I'm at this 16-year-old in high school driving the only car that has this color. And ever since then, it just became an addiction of what I wanted to look at, what I wanted to wear. And when I started singing at 25 in public and doing shows and things like that, I had unknowingly already branded myself in blue. People already were coming up to me saying like, oh, I saw this thing and thought of you because it was blue. And it kind of automatically came the bring the crew and wear your blue phrase. That just kind of hit me one day. I remember exactly where I was in my house and what direction I was facing, which room I was in when it hit me out of nowhere. Bring the crew, wear your blue. Oh, cool. Call your fans for Blue Crew. And with that, 1 month after I started singing and performing, my grandma had passed away from Alzheimer's. And she and I were very, very, very close. As close as you can be to a family member, best friend. I'm with her every other weekend. When I love her, and she's still such a part of my life, even though it has been so long since she's passed. So I made a promise to myself that if I were to ever be in a financial position where I could give back, I would do so through Alzheimer's and wearing the color blue. So when any of you watching this come to my shows, bring the crew, which means bring your fans or friends, and wear your blue. Any shade, it doesn't matter. It could be a sports bra, it could be a tank top, it could be a hat with a thing on it, a little smiley face. But just bring the crew, wear your blue, and I'll donate a portion of my ticket sales and merchandise sales to the Alzheimer's Association. And I've been doing that since the day I moved to Nashville, which is almost 11 years ago.
That is absolutely wonderful. Um, and it is a disease that so many of us sadly are recognizing amongst family members, friends, um, and even some who are going through the process themselves and in the early stages, knowing where it's going to take them. So, whatever we can do to, get rid of this horrible disease, if there is a way. And I know music is one thing that helps so many of them. And so you weren't singing at the time, were you?
Uh, I wasn't, and that's what made it so sad set slash special, because I know that she would be my number one champion. She would be at every show and telling everyone about it and wearing as much. She was more of like a violet kind of, light pastel color wearer. So she might wear like a baby blue if she were to come. But it was a, I don't know, it's like bittersweet, I guess, the
Yes,
feeling about it.
absolutely. So obviously you've been working on this album for quite a while.
Yes.
Um, are you giving anybody a sneak peek of it when you are performing?
I have been sneak peeking all year.
Okay.
Yes, since my first release back in March, which was See Me Cry. Oh my gosh. I am so, I was so excited to release that song because I had such a hand in um, being on the production side. I've been really hands-on with the production side with this whole album, more so than anything I've ever released. But with that particular song, it was the first time I worked with another female producer. So two women working together, and it was the first time, and we worked so well together, and just ideas were flying. Like, oh, okay, let's try this, let's try that. And I played percussion on it, and and then the rap is my favorite part. It's so fast and so fun, and it's such a pop song, and that was the first song to release, and it's so pertinent to the time in my life and what this whole album stands for. You're not going to see me cry anymore. I'm up and over that hill. I'm stronger, I'm better, I'm wiser, I learned from my mistakes. Like, you ain't going to see me cry. And it
I
just
love it.
set the tone for the year, for the recording.
So I know during the year there were some struggles with, um, you know, getting getting the awareness. And what I think a lot of people don't understand is that so many artists today have to raise their own funds to produce their music.
Yes.
Um, and in the past, and when I'm saying past, I'm talking probably 30 plus years ago. Okay. Um, you know, you would go to Nashville, hope that somebody would say, hey, this is a person who I want to produce. They would go out, they would do all the funding, and you would be, writing your music, performing your music, getting it ready. Um, that part you didn't have to worry about,
Mhm.
but you had to worry about how you were going to eat until it started making money. And now, not only are you writing the music and producing the music, and going out and finding the right people to work with, okay, you're doing it all, and it means that you've got to go out and raise money, and that's not an easy task. So how did you start?
It's not a fun task either. I don't enjoy asking people to give me their hard earned money.
Right.
And whether or not you're a huge supporter of my music, it still feels weird. So it's just a strange feeling. But I spent the majority of my releases and my music not asking for help. So I've self funded most of my releases. I had a tour back in like 2008, I think, that I raised maybe 3,000 for, something like that. And it helped me pay for my plane tickets and my cars and my hotels, and just helped me get around the nation. That was, I think, my first bigger tour.
Sure.
And then the next time after 2008 or 2009, whatever that was in 2014 or 15, which is about almost $5,000 that paid for the recording of I Want It to Rain and the music video for it. This is like twice, and this is the third time now where I'm asking in, an 18-year period. Um, and I, I just started asking. I think a lot of what anyone could learn from anything in life is the beauty of asking, because the worst that someone can say is no,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But I think if you just ask, my favorite thing to say is you never know. You never know what's going to happen, and you might as well just try. So that's kind of my attitude about everything. And I would be lying if I said I didn't get really down when I didn't hit the goal. I really wanted to record 22 songs. And if I wanted to properly record 22 songs, that would cost between $40,000 and $50,000. Well, I was at like 3 or 4,000 coming up on the time where I needed to be at like 15 or something like that.
Sure.
Little by little, I had to cut off songs and take off songs. And the next thing I know is at 15 songs. Now I'm at 11. And yeah, that's disappointing, but I'm still at 11, and that's great. And so I'll still, I'll do what I can to raise the rest to 3,800. And if not, then it's kind of like the rest of my career. It's self-funded and self-promoted. And I'll just hope that everyone who listens to it will love it and share it.
Now, you're living in Nashville and you are performing in Nashville.
Not
And
often anymore, but I'm still performing.
what was that?
Not often anymore, but I'm still performing.
Okay. And I know that's where so many singers, performers, writers are going to today. It's at one time it was only the country singers that were going to Nashville. And now everybody is going to Nashville, which I think is terrific. But you just spent some time in Hawaii not too long ago.
Yes.
And that seems to be one of your, I guess I want to say one of your heavens, because I
Yes.
can see it in all your posts that, you know what, I'm performing tonight. It's like, it's just so you. So how did you start going out there?
It's an astounding, still pinch myself, how did I even get here feeling, especially last summer's tour in April. I probably, those might have been the videos you might be referencing. Like, yes, every time I go there, I have that attitude.
Yeah.
But there's a particular resort that I played at in April last summer where my freaking job was to go play pretty much on the beach, like maybe 30 feet from the water, with this beautiful golf course. It's so beautifully lit and tiki torches, and the weather was perfect, and it's so classy. And I'm like, how did I get here? But so Hawaii has been a big part of my life even prior to music. I went there with a best friend of mine a couple times with her family. I went there a couple times when I was younger with my family, and it kind of was just in the background, I guess. And then I can't remember the reason of why I went about 11 years ago, but I was driving. What the heck was I doing? I went to the Big Island, and I remember island hopping over to Oahu, which is where Waikiki is, Honolulu. And I was there for 48 hours. I was with one of my best friends, and we're driving down the street, and he's like, hey, I know you're only here for a couple days, so you probably can't play, but just so you know, the brand new Hard Rock just opened. And I was like, pull over, pull over, pull over. And so I made him pull over so I could run up the stairs and go bug whoever the person, the manager was or booking agent. I have to play here. I'm only here for another 24 hours. Can I play tomorrow night? And they said no. And I was like, may I please have the booking agent's email address? And in my head, I was like, I can't wait to turn this no into a yes. Take me back to my hotel. And so I got back in my friend's car, dropped me off at the hotel, see them, okay, great. I emailed the booking agent, and I woke up with an email from them saying, yes, you can perform tonight. You can have a 30-minute slot, main stage, we'll pay you and we'll feed you.
All you had to do was ask.
And I had not so recently, but recently enough, where opening for Bruno Mars was still pertinent. It was a few years prior to that.
Yeah.
And he's from Hawaii. Like, everyone loves him there. So to be able to use that name, I just recently opened up for Bruno. I've opened for Pepper. Pepper is a really big reggae band that's out of Hawaii. And so to be able to use my background and opening for them, that probably helped. Maybe, I don't know what else they saw online, or maybe if they heard my music, I don't know what, but they said yes. And not only just a yes and not a free show, they paid me
I
and,
love it.
and play on the main stage. And so that's how coming to Honolulu and playing at Hard Rock happened. So Hard Rock is essentially that's my main spot that I play whenever I go to Honolulu.
How
My
terrific.
little other venues got tacked onto that, and other islands got tacked onto that. I've been banging their doors down for years, and
I
now
love it.
I have places to play.
And you're teaching us a lesson that so many of us say, "Oh, I just can't do it." Okay. Um, I know that when I started podcasting, there were certain people that I thought were really important that I wanted to have on. And my brother being in the industry, knowing so many different musicians, um, I would call him up and say, "Hey, can you connect me?" And he'd say, "No, connect yourself." And it was like, "Well, yeah, but who am I?" He said, "You can say we're related, but that's all you can say." He said, "I'm not making the phone call." And the first time I made the phone call, I was terrified. And person answered themselves, which was like, really? Because I had their private phone number. So of course they did, but I didn't know that. And it took one call for me to say, you know what? You're right. The worst thing they can say is no. And I can say, hey, that's fine. If you ever change your mind, you can reach me. And I realized, number one, once you start asking for things, as long as you're not begging for things and not expecting anything in return,
Excellent point. Repeat that. Say that again.
as long as you're not begging or asking or expecting anything in return. Okay. Um,
Love that.
and that is that goes down to the little things, asking somebody that your parent, your brother, your sister. Don't be afraid. I mean, if they say no, it's okay to ask why, so that now you have a better understanding.
Mhm.
Uh, I talk about my brothers a lot on my program, and uh, one brother has been pretty successful in life. Um, and for years, he was always, treating us to things, and he wouldn't let us treat him.
Oh, okay.
And finally, I said to him, "Why?" And he said, "Because I want to do it and I can afford to do it. But the day that I don't do it, please don't ask me to." He said, "Because something may have changed in my life." And it was
God,
like, hey, what an honest answer. Okay. And that's how I am with people too. I might give and give, but don't expect it.
yeah,
And if you don't expect it, you're not going to be disappointed.
right.
And so I'm so glad that you've been able to get out there. And I watched a couple of your online shows, and I could see when you were asking, people to help fund. It wasn't real comfortable, but you were giving so much back to us in return. So
Thank you for saying that, because I don't know what on earth I could I give some of my CDs back, or I give you sneak peeks, or but part of the donation process, it's really just to contribute and to donate, and not to expect anything back other than the music, right? Once it comes out, oh, I was someone who contributed to that song or that album's release. But it's weird I have to talk about it now every day this month, because it's the whole point of me playing every day now. That's why I'm still in this outfit, my sports bra. I'm doing something called December sports bra sessions,
right.
where 20 minutes every single day I've committed to at 2 p.m. Playing songs mostly from the new album. I might throw in one cover every few days. I might throw in an older song for fans who really want to hear the older stuff, but it's mainly to raise awareness to make up this money. And now I have to talk about it every day, and it's just strange. It is strange, but I'm hopeful.
Well, I know things are gonna come around for you. So tell me, is there somebody who you really wanted to be like when you start when your friends convinced you that, hey, besides karaoke, now you should go out and really become a performer. Um, was there another performer out there that you thought, I'd like to be like her, like him?
I found myself not when I first started. It was years later when Sarah Bareilles came out, and I just found myself really connecting with her personality and her style of music. It's honest, and I not that other I I want to make sure I don't come off like other artists' music isn't honest. Of course it is, but what I'm specifying about Sarah is I just loved her melodies and the way that she wrote her lyrics and how she performed and how she connected with her fans, and she's sarcastic and she's so unashamedly herself. And the very first song she comes out is called Love Song, and it's like a big old to the labels. They're like, I'm not gonna write a love song. You want me to write a love song so I can make you tons of money? No. Oh, like you go, girl. And I've seen her live before, and I've never met her, but I just really connected with that kind of. She seems so genuine, and uh, really her. But it wasn't anyone, right? That was again a few years after I started singing. So I don't think I had anyone in particular when I first started, other than being very drawn to the vocal stylings of Jewel and Sarah McLachlan, probably most. Joss Stone. Mhm.
So I know you play a couple instruments. Okay. So you're not just a vocalist, you're not just a writer, you're not just a producer. Um, how hard is it to juggle all those hats?
Well, people kind of tease me because sometimes I'll be playing. So I'll have what they call a stomp box, which is like it sounds like a kick drum on your right
Yep.
foot. I'll have a foot tambourine on my left foot. I'll be playing the guitar with both my hands. I'll be singing, and then I'll have a harmonica on too. And they're like, "What else are you gonna put on your body, Alyssa?" And I'm like, "Actually, there's this ring shaker that I got when I first started. That's an elastic band with this tiny little, maybe the size of this right here. And it has this little, it sounds like a shaker where you wear it like a ring. And so when you're playing guitar like this, it shakes. I think it's called a ring shaker or something. And I did that back when I first started to have some sort of form of percussion. So I could totally add that as another thing. But I don't know. I don't know how I do it. It's probably why I don't sleep. There's so much involved with uh, owning your own businesses and all these multifaceted careers that I do, music being the main one. But I just do it. And it's very overwhelming at times. And I would be lying to you if I didn't say that there were days where I'm just like, I don't think I could do this anymore. And a lot of that actually came this year. This album has saved me. Going to a lesser number of performing a month and really dialing back tours and live shows and focusing most of my creative energy on these particular songs and making them the best I can possibly make them for my fans and for anyone who just needs to hear these kinds of songs. um, I really got refueled by that. And I feel like now I'm just, as of within probably a week or so, reconnecting with that thriving side of, okay, let's start kicking ass again. We're like, let's go play here and go play here and go do this. And yeah, so I feel revitalized, I guess.
So as I'm listening to you, it's making me feel um, very revitalized. Um, and I'm hoping soon that my youngest son finally gets to meet you because the past 2 years, life has created music in his head, and he's been writing, and his uncle is in the process of producing. And I realized for the first time that he writes what he sees and experiences. And to me, that is the most beautiful music that anybody can make. Um, and when I listen to your music, it's like, no, I didn't go through that, but oh, I can feel it because I went through this.
Oh
And
wow, that's good to know.
oh, absolutely. And sometimes I'll listen to it a second time and I feel different about it. But that's what I love about honest music because it takes us on our own journeys and it reminds us of, yeah, I don't want that to ever happen again. Or, hey, I can have this happen. Um, and I will tell you this last year, as you and I have been texting and emailing back and forth, um, you know, nothing terrible has happened in my life, but a lot of rough spots. And it's like, yeah, I'm not there alone. I listen to a piece of music and I go, okay, well, those are my thoughts today. And thank you very much. And that's what I want our listeners to know is that the 11 selections on this album, you may not like all 11, but that's okay. Keep listening. And one that maybe you didn't like the first time, when you listen to it again, you'll love. The gentleman who is allowing me to use his music as my intro, um, when he sent me the CD, this was the only song I loved. I mean, the others I would just keep skipping over and replaying I Wish You Enough over and over again.
I like
And
it. I really like that actually. The one that you
well,
chose.
and the interesting part is the first time listened to it, I felt that my mother was speaking to me on her deathbed. And that's not what this song was written for, but that's what I saw. When my son moved away, I saw myself singing it to him. And so there's so much in music that can take us on our journeys, our past and our present, and maybe into the future. And I think we're going to find that with your 11 selections.
Oh, I hope so. What a beautiful way of stating that. A comment on what you just said about that song, because I want to make sure I don't forget it. You initially thought of it as singing
My
it to your mother singing it to you on her deathbed,
right.
and then you another time envisioned yourself singing it to your son when he
Who's
left,
moving away.
moving away. So there's something about going away connection.
Yes. And that's how I see it. Yeah. And he actually wrote it about a love going away. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
That is
so
okay.
so and I can't remember what song it was I was listening to the other day of yours because I had it playing in the background while I was doing something. And it had a real upbeat, but it was making me slow down. And I thought, that's sort of weird. And so I went to somebody else's music that was upbeat. And all of a sudden I'm just like jumping around while I'm working. And I realized it's how I listen to music. Your voice was keeping me calm. It was an exciting song, but your voice was keeping me calm. So
It's so
you
cool.
you've engraved yourself into my heart. So I just tell you, besides the fact that you remind me of my niece, you are just a beautiful soul all around.
That means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you. That means so much to me. I almost would bet if it's a newer song, I would bet it was Sha La La Love. Is that
I,
possible to
I
tell them?
think so. Yes. Yes.
Do you know what that song is about?
No.
Do we want to share it with people?
Oh, absolutely. Share it with us.
It would be interesting for you to hear the backstory of this. All these songs they're just so specific and different. They're all different genres for those of you who are listening to this. There's a lot of different genres. There's pop, there's rap, there's reggae, there's blues, there's country, and like folky Americana. And some of those are all infused together. And Sha La La Love is stylistically like a Jason Mraz, Ed Sheeran. The melody is familiar. It's upbeat. It feels good. but the lyrics are about a fight that I had with my brother and
Ooh,
about salvaging it and reminding ourselves that we have love to share and we have light to share and not to focus on or live in that fight that we had. The night before this song was written, my brother and I got into the most traumatic, biggest fight of our lives. And yeah, we fought while we were younger,
yeah.
but not really so much, you know, just disagreements, I guess, normal family stuff. But this was horrible. And I was up all night crying. I had a writing session the next morning with Tolan Shaw, who ironically has written with Jason Mraz before. And we are pretty consistently writing together. And I do not cancel on things unless I somehow lose my voice, which has happened probably once or twice in 11 years. If I am deathly ill, coughing, super sick, which again, maybe once or twice in the last 11 years, I don't cancel. I don't like doing that. And so it was one of those moments where I was fighting with myself. I don't know if I can do it. I'm upset. I look like crap. I'm going to sound like crap. And I just want to write a sad song. And I'm like, no, snap out of it. This is a great co-writer you have coming over. You guys can probably take this and turn it into something really special. And 3 minutes before Tolan walks in the door, the pre-chorus to Shala Love, I wrote on my own. And he comes in and I'm like, this is what happened last night with my brother, but I don't want to write a sad song. This is what I just wrote when you walked in, and bam, out came Shala Love. And I now go forth and listen to it.
I'm going to listen to it this evening. Absolutely. And I take it you and your brother are fine with each other and life has gone on.
Life has gone on. It took some time. It took some time because that was a tough thing to have gone through. But
Well, and that is a good point that you're bringing out, because as we go through life, we are going to have those moments, whether it be with a sibling, a friend, somebody that's very important in our life. And too many people say, oh, had this fight, it's over, and never going to talk to you again, because we don't know how to say the right words to come back to each other. Now, obviously, you wrote a song that sort of helped, I'm sure. But, it's almost like we said in the beginning, if you ask, just ask, okay? Um, you know, you don't even have to use the words I'm sorry, because maybe you're really not sorry, but it's now time to heal. And so ask for something, offer something in return.
mhm. Beautiful. I think that's like the main subject of this interaction, this particular interview, chat, talk is to. I mean, you said it so beautifully. I thank you for repeating that. Just ask for it. Don't expect for anything in return. Don't be afraid to ask.
So are you going to be performing this weekend at all? It's a holiday weekend. Or are you going to just go out and enjoy the music?
Um, that's a tough question. I am committed to my 2 p.m.s now, doing my 20 minutes every
Right.
single month, but it's just 20 minutes. There is so much work to be done still with this album. I still have 2 songs that are in the mixing stage. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the second to last process before the song's finished. There's mixing, there's mastering,
Right.
and then the song is done. I have to still, I'm in, like, I have a mixer, professional mixer master who do that, but I get the mixes emailed to me and I have to listen for, do I want the bass up? Do I want the guitar down? The vocals? Did I hear a bird tweet in the background? Got to get rid of that. And so that takes a lot of focus and a lot of energy. And so that will probably be a lot of my weekend. And I also, I'm so immersed and I have been so immersed in the music industry that the pandemic has really helped me kind of take a step back and be okay with just being home. I don't have to go out just because it's a holiday weekend, and I don't have to go find a boat. I don't have to go, to some party. I'm okay with being in my home and working on my music or having interviews or talking to family, having friends come over if they want to, or just being alone.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. So now I'm going to ask a geographical question, um, and then I'm going to let you just think about it. So I know in Tennessee, Nashville is a hot spot, and there's a lot of music going on in Memphis as well.
Mhm.
How far is Nashville from Memphis?
3.5 hours, depending on what area here that you live in.
Okay. Well, there's a good possibility I may be coming down that way.
Okay, when is it?
um, and I just thought I would ask because, 3.5 hours is better than from here to there. It's probably a 2-day drive for me to get down to Nashville in one day. But I just want to wish you the best, best, best. And if I'm coming down that way, which I think I might be, I will let you know so I can, meet you in person. And of course, I'm going to keep telling everybody to listen to your music. And we need to raise the rest of the money.
We do need to raise the rest of the money. And I have my guitar next to me if you wanted to hear something that's coming out, or should we leave it?
Can you legally do it without a license?
Oh yeah. Oh, then
Okay.
it's my song. I can do whatever I want.
All right. Let's hear it then. Whatever you want to play.
Yeah, I had this one particular one in mind because of where I'm sitting. I remember writing it and feeling like I was singing it pretty loudly, and wanting to probably be quiet because my neighbors are tough. They if they hear a pin drop, they're like, "Shut up!" I was married at the time when I wrote this song, and he had walked in when I was in the middle of belting it out, and he's like, "That kind of sounded like a Chris Stapleton song. What was that?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a song I'm just writing right now." And that made me feel so good to hear him relate it to someone who I think is so outstanding. But that was actually the intent behind it. Now, when I got into the studio, we decided, my co-producer and I, it was going to sound nothing like this. The chords are exactly the same. The verses, the melody's the same. The lyrics are the same. But if you know who Imogen Heap is, she has that it's called a vocoder on her. What was that first song that she came out with? I can't think right now, but there's a vocoder that does this weird thing with your voice that changes the style of your voice. And then there's a lot of drums and percussion that I made from like you'll hear that in the background. That was
okay.
On my legs. We made noises into music.
I love it.
We turned this kind of bluesy acoustic song into a pop song. And so I was in this chair when I wrote it. And so anyway, this is called Love Doesn't Love.
Okay.
Mind, body, and soul, I lost control. Fell through a trapdoor, can't reason no more. It's taking its toll. Brave, hopeful, and blind, it gets me every time. Refuse to agree to see what they see and ignore the signs. It's so fake, they believe it. A picture perfect white picket dream. Oh, but somehow I'm staying in light. Although I know love doesn't love what it's doing to me. Lost, flattered in words, forget all the hurt. It's different, it's changed. They swear no more pain, and it's time to work. It's so fake, they believe it. A picture perfect white picket dream. Oh, but somehow I'm staying in light. Although I know love doesn't love what it's doing to me. solace and faith. Where are you today? It's not a sin to begin and find my own way. Is this a mistake between us? I really miss who I used to be. I can't take any more of this. I know love doesn't love it's doing me. I know love doesn't love what's doing to me.
Wow. I love it. That so that's just a fraction of your talent. I want our listeners to know. A fraction. So please follow, and I will put as many links as I can fit into the show notes so we can all follow Alyssa, Jacey. And how can they help fund this album?
There are two really easy links to go to. GoFundMe.com/F, letter F like fun, /Alyssa Jacey. And then there's also AlyssaJacey.com. And on my website, there's a link that says 10th album. You can click the 10th album link. And right on that one page, you can find me on Venmo, you can find Cash App, PayPal. So GoFundMe is one link, AlyssaJacey.com is another. And I'm also constantly posting these links on all my social sites. So if you follow me on Facebook, for example, or Instagram, TikTok, they're all there.
Well, we're going to make sure that you get that money. So for all my listeners, if you see tons of things out on my Instagram and Facebook and a few others, sorry guys, let's see if we got 3,000 people to donate $1. That's all we need.
Yeah, well, 3,800.
Oh, 3,800.
Yeah.
So, okay. So,
$1.50, whatever.
Yeah.
$1.25, I'm really bad at math.
Okay, let's do $2 each. Then she'll have a little extra left over. But wow, wouldn't that be fun for 3,000 people to be able to say that they took part in your album?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love it.
And that 200, that's going to go already to, I've already put in more than what I'm asking for. So if there is a leftover 200, I'm just going to put that right back into promoting it, because I have a couple different sites that I'm giving these songs to help get the ball rolling and get the word out. So literally anything that you guys care to share there's not a cent that goes into my house, into gas. It goes 100% into my music.
And, you will book some shows, because if some of our listeners can book a show, I think that'd be a great idea too.
Sure. Well, if I can't come to your city, for example, you can see me online. And that's a really good way to, especially this month, every day, to tune in. So make sure you go on, just follow my socials, and you'll learn where I'm streaming from. And it's always going to be 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, 20 minutes.
And we all can wear a sports bra, so.
For sports bra sessions, I might as well. I work from home on my treadmill. I'm already in a sports bra most of the day anyway. I might as well just play some music for 20 minutes. And
I love it. How exciting. Well, have a very productive weekend.
Thank you. You too.
We will keep in touch, and maybe you'll hear some special news from me next week.
I can't wait. And you honestly, look, if you guys can see what she looks like right now, because this is a video you're gonna put on YouTube, right? You look beautiful. You really, really do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And the curls and everything going on.
Hey, you have revitalized me in many ways, so I have to thank you for that. And one day you're gonna meet my niece, I promise. Okay.
I want to meet you and your niece. Yes. I hope so.
Take care, sweetheart. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.
Having me.